Hello everyone and welcome back to the OnlyAccies podcast. Today we are joined by Hamilton Chairman Alan Maitland, who is here to discuss everything league reconstruction, player contracts and what all of this means for Hamilton. Now, all the questions you're about to hear have been submitted by you, the fans, over on Facebook and on Twitter, so thank you very much for that. Thank you for all the love and support you gave on the Brian McPhee podcast. You guys absolutely smashed it. We really enjoyed doing it and you guys really enjoyed listening to it. It seems if you have any more guests you would like us to try and interview, go ahead and let us know over on Facebook, Twitter, or drop them in the YouTube comments down below. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Alright everyone, so like I said, we're joined by Hamilton Chairman Alan Maitland. Alan, how are you?
Good, thank you very much. Thank you.
Good. So like I said, all these questions are submitted by fans. I mean, the biggest one really being about the league reconstruction. There's a lot of talk about a temporary league reconstruction. And I suppose the biggest issue with that is, what benefit does that have to Hamilton, if any?
None. Absolutely none. It's not a preferred choice, I've got to say. I understand the value in saying, look, let's just make sure that nobody's penalised, and then it's almost it's no one's fault this has happened, so next year we'll be able to revert to what it was. I can see that, but equally it looks very much like it's to save Hearts as a one-off season, and that doesn't sit right. I mean, I know that I may get in trouble for that, but I think it looks a bit narrow-minded. A longer-term solution of a 14-team league would work much better, as far as certainly as we're concerned, and that's the way we're going to go and vote for it, I think.
And so, is that 14-team league, is that the preferred model that Hamilton would like, or is there something being discussed that?
No. That's just a preferred model for their point of view. So at the moment, the reconstruction committee have not come up with anything. They're obviously going through all their options, and what they've said, what Les has said, is that they're not going to come up with 3 or 4 different options, because that will just be too varied. They're going to have, we're either going to stay as we are, or it'll be this. And team to vote on that, and that makes much more sense, I've got to say.
Yeah, and I mean,
when will the final word be said on that?
Oh, well, I was talking to Les, and he reckons it'll be weeks before we get into that discussion. So there's so many people involved in it, so they've got to look at all the different options. And what he's asked, quite simply, is, I want you to take off your club hat and ask what's the best thing for Scottish football going forward. But there's so many variables in that. Every club's trying to look after itself. Are we any different? Possibly not. But the benefit we've got is that we're not having to vote on something that's going to benefit us now for this season, because as it stands, we should stay up regardless.
It's quite interesting to hear you say about, it seems to be as if it's just supporting Hearts, because there was an article released today by the Scotsman, and Les Gray was quoted to say, we're not charged with finding a solution which fixes things for Hearts, Partick Thistle and Stranraer. We are charged with finding a solution that is a remedy to the consequences of COVID-19, but at the same time has a firm eye on all 42 clubs and what is the best for football, not just on this one issue. But I mean, like you said there, and I think most fans will share that opinion, as it does seem that if we were in that bottom spot and Hearts were even in our space or further up, that we would not be given the same courtesy that Hearts seem to be given. And I know Brandon has some quite strong thoughts, on that.
Yeah. Just as far as what I can see, Alan, just the way in which Anne, no disrespect to Anne Budge, but just the way she's conducting herself throughout the full thing, she just seems to be very contradictory with some of the ways in which she's putting herself forward. And I think probably I'd say 99% of the fans would agree with that. If it was us in their position, Anne certainly wouldn't be acting in the way she was remotely at all to try and resolve the issue in this way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that entirely. In fact, I'm not sure that many clubs would be too concerned if it was us in that situation. And that's what I've said I've said that right from the beginning. However, having said all that, it's still the duty of everybody to look at what's the best form of reconstruction if we're going to do a reconstruction, and should teams be penalised for what has happened. And no matter what we think about Hearts and budget situation, it's really not fair that you get penalised on something that's out with your control. So they're still a long way from Hearts from being safe, I've got to say. But certainly if you look at Falkirk's position and you look at Partick Thistle's position in particular, it looks a bit unfair on them. So in the bigger picture, I can see why it's unfair that somebody gets penalised for being in this position.
Yeah, I think the term penalised, you have to. It depends on which reference you're talking about. That I mean, Falkirk and Partick Thistle, I would definitely say that they are being penalised. Falkirk 1 point off. Thistle having a game in hand. But when you look at our league, and the fact that they've all played the same games, that is a gap. I don't know if you can say that's being penalised.
Listen, I think that's fair comment. And see, for our point of view, we're not interested in Hearts. We're looking at St Mirren and Ross County. You know that if we'd gone to down 1-1, we'd have been 9th in the league, not 11th. So our concern is not what's happening behind us; it's what's happening in front of us. It's the best bit of form we'd had, other than St Johnstone and Celtic. We were the form teams in the league if you look at the last 5 games. So we were very much looking forward to it. We had everybody except George Oakley back from injury. So the league stopping when it did, rightly stopping when it did, I've got to say, was unfortunate for us.
Just saw him down the park the other day, and he looks a lot bigger. He's certainly bulked up.
I was talking to George last week. I think he's found it very frustrating. It's been a long injury for him this time, and it's taken much longer than he thought it would. He thought initially that it would just be a month or a month and a half, but Rory and the physios have always said, listen, this is a 3-month recovery period at least. And that's exactly right. So obviously with George going out of contract at the end of the season, the chances are that George will move back down south, I think.
Well, that leads us quite nicely on to our next question, where we do have quite a lot of first team players out of contract in the summer. You mentioned
see before we go on to the next question. See, just in the reconstruction. While it's interesting we're talking about reconstruction and we're talking about the merits of Rangers or Hearts or whoever it might be, the bigger picture here is people are dying.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? People are dying here, and somewhere in this has all been lost when, this isn't right and that's not right. People are dying. The idea we're going to be playing football anytime soon is no chance. There's no chance. I think there's a lot of things here that have still to come into play. But anyway, I'm hoping that all our supporters and family and friends and etc. Are surviving. I know we've had 3 people at the club whose parents have lost their lives through this, and it must be horrendous when you can't be with them at that time. It's a horrendous thing.
A quick question I was going to ask Alan before we move on to contracts. What is, in your personal opinion, what would you like for the league reconstruction? Would you like just to stay the same? But what would you like for it to happen, the end product to be?
My main preference with my Hamilton hat on is to go to a 14-team league, because I think that would enhance our opportunity of staying in the league every year. So that would be my first. But I'm quite happy with what we've got. I've got to say, I think it's a very competitive league, and I don't want games in there that become nothing games. And at the moment, we never seem to have any nothing games. They all matter. No.
Can I ask though, just if we were to expand to a 14-team league, does that not then dilute the prize money and TV money, etc.? So would that not almost be a detriment to Hamilton?
It would definitely be a detriment to the higher clubs, certainly Rangers and Celtic. I think everybody would have to take a hit on it to promote the money for number 13 and 14, let's say. So the answer to your question is yes. However, you've got to balance that with, we're moving into a new period of Sky Sports where we're going to get more money than the previous contract. So the first season, if you effect, that everybody would see an improvement anyway, regardless. But on that, one of the big things in the discussion is we want to start the new season as quick as possible. So when we're able to start playing football, let's call it August, we want that to be the new season, not trying to finish 8 games of the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brandon, you were going to ask something there, sorry, before I jumped in.
No, yeah, what I was going to obviously say is when the new league proposal does come into place, obviously is that it will be the 11 teams that will need to agree on it minimum. Personally, I don't think 11 teams are going to agree on it, so it's just a quick question to you, Alan. So if 11 teams don't agree on the proposal, will that mean that 1,000,000% the league will finish it the way it is? Is that how it's going to pan out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Unless somehow they find a way in May of playing the games, and as we've already discussed, the chances of that are fractions.
Yeah.
So I think it will be this is a league reconstruction proposal, and whatever that proposal is, and it's either that one or stay as we are.
Right.
If it's a stay as we are, then it will be Hearts are relegated, Thistle are relegated, rather than
Yeah. Okay.
I have a quick question just on the last point on reconstruction. So I'm sure I've seen something during the week. I don't know who it was from, but it was in regards to if we were playing the games behind closed doors, Hamilton and things like that. Is it safe to confirm that no matter what happens, the club's not in any kind of immediate danger, or that there are clubs out there who really could be in trouble with it?
Can you say that again for me? Just to repeat that.
So, regarding the reconstruction, or the longer we go on without something being decided, are Hamilton safe? Will there be any kind of financial trouble, or are there clubs out there that really will be in trouble?
No, that's a great question, because that's going to be a big issue going forward. It all depends. See, if we're talking about closed door games for the next 5 months, I don't think there's any club in Scotland that won't feel that financial pressure. I mean, that would be horrendous. I mean, the people look at our situation. I know there was an article attributed to Les last week, which was very inaccurate, but our situation is a simple thing. We have a tremendously loyal band of supporters, and we're at the stage we're trying to encourage that to increase. We've already discussed this amongst our group here, but we want to try and grow that home support the best way we can. Best way, obviously, is by winning football matches, but playing in the Premier League for the last 6 seasons, we're hoping that support will grow. This has come at a really bad time, obviously, and the idea that people are going to start going back to football matches right away, that's just not going to happen. Even when they do start playing, families are going to be saying, I don't want you to go at risk. You're 65-year-old, 70-year-old, whatever it might be, you've got some sort of asthma problem, you're not going to football, it's too much of a risk. That'll be the case for a long, long time. It might well be, as you rightly say, they were playing behind closed doors for 5 months, for example. Financially, that would be Armageddon to some clubs. It won't, I don't think, be Armageddon to us, but the bottom line is we need the money that comes from away support. We need the money that comes from our home support and our season ticket sales. We need the money from our sponsors. We need the money from the whole match day package. We're the same as everybody else. It's a smaller scale, but we still need it. And if we're going to be in a situation where we don't have that, then you'll find that our squad will probably be cut accordingly.
See, that kind of leads on to my next kind of question as well. When we're talking about the next step, I mean, it's really like we mentioned previously, a lot of clubs have started doing early bird season tickets. Now, personally, it's not something I agree with, especially when you don't know when the season's going to be starting. I mean, a lot of the clubs that have done it already, you're paying your money, the money's already spent because it's keeping the club afloat. So for whatever reason, if the season doesn't even start this year, me as a consumer, I don't want my money back. But the money's already spent, so that's not something I agree with. But I think my point is, when things get set up and ready to go, like you said, there might be people that don't want the older generation to go and be at risk with that many people. There might be the other people that take a good couple of years to financially recover from what's happened.
Absolutely.
Is there going to be steps in place by clubs where it's a golden opportunity to say, listen, we know how much everyone's missing football. It's a time to kind of start afresh and maybe make it a bit more worth it for the average punter.
Yeah, I hear that, but you've also got to remember, if there's no supporters, let's say, for 3 or 4 months, clubs are going to be desperate for cash.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that they're going to sell season tickets, let's say, at a third of the price or half the price, I think that'll be financially hard for them, really hard for them. So certainly from our point of view, I've got to say Colin's been fantastic. So Colin's been very much in the situation he's saying, Alan, we can't go and approach our supporters about selling season tickets just now when we don't know what league, what the league's going to look like. This is what I said to you earlier. So because of that, he's quite properly said, we're not going to do anything with season tickets till we know. We're not going to be asking supporters something when it's unfair on them. So I know there's other clubs out there that have done things and asked the supporters to support them through this difficult time. We haven't done that. We're trying to find a way financially to be as stable as we possibly can and guide the club through it.
Just fair enough.
So financially, listen, see there's no supporters coming to games for 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be horrendous. I mean, it'll be bad enough for us, but you can imagine if you were Hibs, Aberdeen, Rangers, Celtic, the level of income that you're going to lose, and you've still got the same expenditure going out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not in security, but in terms of wages every week, I mean, that'll be horrendous.
This is something that we talked about in a previous podcast when we talked about the clubs that are similar size to ourselves. The main one being Livy.
Yep.
And we said that when we were talking about transfer policy, and we noticed that Livy were bringing in people like Effie Ambrose, and that was just before this all kicked off. So that's a guy that will be getting good money for absolutely nothing. And now teams like that are similar to ourselves must be hurting right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but there is still an element of prudence required. So, for our point of view, and I'm telling you this without having put it out on the website, but for our point of view, we've already re-signed David Templeton for the next 2 years.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
So I'm giving you that. Now I'll need to tell somebody to put it on the website
That's a wee
tomorrow.
exclusive
So
for us,
we're
boys.
almost at the same time. But anyway, so
exclusive for us.
So David Templeton. So, and we're doing the same. We've got to look at the youngsters as well. We've got a lot of youngsters who we've got an option on for. So we have to discuss it with all these kids as well. So there's a lot of things that's going on in the background. But I can tell you right now, what we're not doing is we're not going out there to sign new players to replace players that are going out of contract.
Yeah. Well, that is something that kind of leads.
I think that's expected. I think that we're all being sensible. It's probably how we expected it to be approached.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's probably better for us than some other clubs that we do actually bring really decent talent. So there might be your players that will maybe fill the void a bit better than what's out there else at other clubs. But I think like I say, it's expected.
Well, see for Hamilton Accies, I mean, Ronnie McDonald's managed the football side for years and years, and Les and I are trying to learn from Ronnie. So Ronnie's always been very much of the mind, Alan. In an ideal scenario, we'll have a third of our players being out of contract every season. And the reason for that is a simple thing. One, that allows you to change the squad and get a new interest. And usually with Hamilton Accies, we bring in players in for one season, and if they do well, we try and offer them a second year. So this particular year, that's turned out to be exactly the right thing to do, because it means that we've got a third of the players going out of contract in, let's say, the 31st of May. And if we're not playing games again till, let's say, September, then we'll be financially better off than teams who have got players in contract for another 3 years, for example, or 2 years.
Yeah, I was actually saying to the boys just before the call, where there was an article on the BBC website saying that this season, in the summer, there'll be the largest pool of free agents as there's ever been in Scottish football.
Absolutely. And see, at that stage, the free agents, there'll be a reluctance of clubs wanting to go and pay for them if they're not playing in front of supporters, because they won't have the money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a tough time for players. Really tough time. So, from our point of view, in terms of the first team, we've got Alec Gogic going out of contract, we've got Aaron McGowan out of contract, we've got George Oakley We've got Michael Miller, Steve Davis, Johnny Hunt. I'm sure we've got others in there that I've just failed to mention. So, but anyway, we've got a lot. We've got Luke, obviously, and Andy Dales, who have gone back to their original clubs, and Sam Woods. So there'll be a big turnaround in players at our football club at the end of the season, and guys that have played a big part in the first team. However, having said all that, sorry, Blair Olsen's the other one I missed. But having said all that, in this financial current climate, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, apologies for being upfront then, but I suppose everybody that will be listening will be wondering, the names you mentioned, are those kind of all but confirmed that they are leaving, or are they just players that we are looking to retain?
By and large, certainly we've spoken to players about renewing contracts for next season, and to date, most of those players, if not all of those players, will be leaving.
Right.
So, at the moment, that's not to say that won't change, but at the moment, those players are out of contract at the end of May, and financially, it's better for us if we don't renew them. Obviously, I've already spoken to a number of those players about new contracts. That was obviously even prior to this, the COVID virus coming into play. But I spoke to them even then. But a lot of them have got plans to go back down south or wherever it might be. So I get that. I understand that. And that's normal for us, as you know. That's normal. You know, at the end of the season, we have a players going out of contract, and it's our job to go and find other players.
So that's another thing as well. So, like you say, when we know that certain players will be moving on, and there'll be steps in place to look for replacements or look within the ranks for replacements, does that mean though that we don't really have a plan in place transfer-wise to replace some of these players, and it will need to be new?
No, sorry, can you say, are you saying have we got plans to replace them? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, so that's something we can't even think about just now.
No. We're still doing all the things that we would normally do. We're still looking at players, and as you rightly say, there's going to be a vast number of players become available in the end of May. So much as we're looking just now, we're not doing anything about it, and there's no point, I don't think, in rushing into anything just now when you might find there's 5 or 6 better players about at the end of May that we can maybe attract to our football club. So we're not in a rush to do anything, but we're continuing to look. We're obviously speaking to the guys at our own club first of all, and if they ultimately decide they don't want to stay, then at that stage we'll be looking to replace them. Perhaps replace them. Financially.
Yeah.
So just on that note, one of the biggest things for you guys and for us is that the club is in sound footing. Financially, we'll be in a better position than most clubs at this stage to deal with this virus and the financial Armageddon that people were talking about. And at the end of all this, when we're all back up and running, Hamilton Accies will be on sound footing, I would like to think.
Definitely. Before we finish up, fairly recently, that's not really to do with the reconstruction, however.
Cool.
So it's more on a personal note. So they've asked me when you first left the club, obviously, and went to ALLAN.
Yep.
You were still working with Ronnie, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Did you ever see yourself coming back, working with the club in any sort of where form at all?
Ronnie had said to me right away, he said, Alan, I know you still want to be a manager, but there will always be a place for you here at Hamilton Accies if you want to come back. So that was the case right from the beginning. I still wanted to do management, but the work became more and more busy, and becoming a manager and committing to 2 or 3 nights a week training became much more difficult. So I'm delighted to be a director. It's a natural progression, I think, and I'm delighted to be back at Hamilton Accies. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
And the other question that was asked, growing up, who did you support?
I think most people know I was an Aberdeen fan. I was fortunate enough to be in Gothenburg when Aberdeen managed to beat Real Madrid. Incidentally, the last team to beat Real Madrid in the European Cup final of any sort. But when I was in my teens, I was following Alec Ferguson's Aberdeen team. So I was born up there, and I've always supported Aberdeen. So
And can I ask?
Can't even hide it. Can't hide it, I'm afraid, boys.
And can I just this will kind of round us off. There was a bit of
Ben, you got anything?
there was a little bit of
Ben
question.
still there?
Hello. Am I? Hello.
Oh. Tell me, guys, have you been watching the FIFA Rewind programs? The World Cup games?
No, I have not.
If you get a chance, you should go into BBC iPlayer and watch them. Some of them have been absolutely fantastic. I mean, fantastic games.
Hello.
Ben, please tell me this is still being recorded.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you now.
Right. Can I just say, I was thinking to myself, these guys are really rude. They keep talking over me and they keep interrupting my questions. I didn't realise you guys couldn't hear me. I know everything's.
You know what you said?
That's fine. Everything's still recorded. We're all good. We're all good.
Good.
But I was confused at why you guys were talking over me.
So have you recorded you saying hello?
Yes,
Hello?
everything's here. Just to round off, there was a little bit of a fan confusion online. Talking about contracts. Our head coach manager Brian Rice. Is he out of contract this summer, or does he still have 6 months?
No. Brian's under contract.
Brian's under contract. That's fine. Okay, just there was a little bit of a question about it online.
Yeah. Can I just, from my point of view, one thing I would like to say is, you'll notice in the website there's not been many updates from me in the website, and the simple reason for that is there's nothing I can say at this stage other than I want people to stay safe. But everybody's reading every day about what's happened with reconstruction, the vote, etc., and how that all went, and is it a farce, is it not a farce, and what about Dundee? There's no point in us commenting on that because there's enough people commenting on it at the moment without us adding to that. What I would say is that when the time is right, and I'll probably try and do something next week, just as an update. I haven't spoken to you guys today, but I'll come out and say something. At the moment, there's really nothing to say, other than we just need to wait and see what the powers that be decide for the future.
You see a lot of these clubs making a lot of statements, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of the statements are put out now really. So I think
I think that's where Hearts and Rangers are going wrong, because
I agree with that.
All these statements out constantly, and they're having to backtrack themselves, so it's just making each other look extremely silly.
I agree with that. I think when we've got something to say, we'll be happy to say it. At the moment, I think there's enough nonsense getting spoken about without me adding to that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And maybe that's a wee bit more experience in dealing with it for a longer time. But we're in unprecedented circumstances, and sometimes the right thing to do is to say nothing.
Exactly. I agree with that.
I think that rounds us off. That rounds us off pretty well. Alan, thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome. Delighted, in fact.
Appreciate that.
So anything you want to ask, Ben, you're welcome to do so.
That's brilliant.
I think another thing that we've had a lot of comments on just before you go on is there's been a lot of interest in we're talking about how the club want to keep the money coming in. Is there any words about possible new kits for the next season?
Oh, yep.
Possible what? Sorry.
About the kits, any idea on kits?
There's a good question. There's a really good question.
Green and blue one, please, Alan.
Well, you're talking about the green and blue hoops.
Yes.
Right. Are you still recording this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm not overly keen on our strip being a balance between Rangers and Celtic. And I know it's a historic strip, and I know all that. I get all that.
Yeah.
It's just something that doesn't sit well with me. We're trying to appease both Rangers and Celtic by being green and blue.
Indeed.
But I understand, from your point of view, that it's an iconic strip.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, and there's a balance there. So the bottom line at the moment is, every penny's a prisoner.
Of course.
So I mean, I would be quite like to go with the current strip for another year, just for the point of view of just trying to balance the books. However, because we're changing players, we're going to have to change it. So I'm going to have to do something. I'll come back and speak to you. Argentina's been discussed. Argentina and Brazil was discussed again.
They'd be good shouts as well.
Because we won at Pittodrie and we had good results and we got good photographs of the Argentina strip. So that's certainly been discussed. In particular, that's the one that's been discussed the most. Actually, from my point of view, I really liked the all yellow one because I just remember Scott Turnbury scoring at Airdrie in a game that we had to win. And we won 2-0. So, but anyway,
I'm pretty positive if any of the new kits were to sort of bring back any sort of type of memory for a fan. So any sort of previous kits we've used, if there was going to be a replica of that, I think the majority of fans would be happy, regardless of what kit it would be.
I'll tell you what I'll do though. I'll speak to you. Okay, I'll phone you and let you know.
Brilliant.
Just to tell you.
Get the catalogue out.
Right, okay. Still, green and blue still not out of the question. It's just that's just my general feeling. But anyway, there we go. Guys, enjoy yourself. Good luck. Be safe.
Take care, Alan.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much, Alan. Thank you.
There you go, guys. That is an exclusive interview with Hamilton Chairman Alan Maitland. I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully we got through all the questions that needed to be asked. We spoke about legal reconstruction contracts and, of course, the kits that have been very popular online. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, go ahead and leave a like rating. If you're on YouTube, share us about, get it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you can think of. Let's try and get this out to as many people as we can. Once again, a huge thank you to Accies Football Club and, of course, Alan Maitland for coming on the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon.